Welcome to Reflect on This. Hello, I am Johnny Henshaw. This is the podcast version of devotionals I send to my family and friends. In these devotionals, I share the things I'm learning about the ways and nature of God through applying my study of the Scriptures to the world around me. In the show notes, you will find the complete list of my recommended resources, including helpful podcasts, books that inspired some of these episodes, and ministries that I want you to know about. In the show notes, you will also find something new, a link that you can use to send a text directly to the podcast with your comments and questions. So let's get started. Please join me today as we reflect on this. A young man was working at his first job after graduating from college. He was young, energetic, idealistic, and ready to conquer the world. His boss began to notice that he was not doing well at receiving instruction or criticism from his experienced coworkers. So one day his boss pulled him aside and said, "Whenever someone offers you instruction or criticism, I want you to train yourself to immediately think of these four important words. They might be right. If you do that, you will tune in and actually consider what they are saying." That young man was the leadership coach at my last employer at the beginning of his career. Decades later, as a seasoned veteran and retiree from both manufacturing and human resources management, he shared this true story about himself at a management meeting. His story has stuck with me. These four important words are so true. How quick we are to begin to mentally construct a rebuttal to a person's criticism before we have even given them a chance to finish their statement, and totally miss the opportunity for someone to show us one of our blind spots. They might be right. And even if they are partially or even totally wrong, maybe they do not have all the facts correctly, etc., our humble listening response is an opportunity to demonstrate that the Christ I profess is actually at work in me, developing His character in me. The Bible has a lot to say about the humility that followers of Christ are to demonstrate. 1 John 2:16 in the Amplified Version says, "For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, craving for sensual gratification, and the lust of the eyes, greedy longings of the mind, and the pride of life, assurance in one's own resources, or in the stability of earthly things, these do not come from the Father, but are from the world itself." Notice the helpful description of the pride of life from the Amplified Bible. Assurance in one's own resources, or in the stability of earthly things. Contrast this with the truth. Our own resources are not adequate, and the world around us is not stable. We need God, and it is prideful to think otherwise. 1 Peter 5:5 says, "You younger men, likewise, be subject to your elders, and all of you clothe yourself with humility toward one another. For God is opposed to the proud, but gives grace to the humble." Notice that if we are proud, we restrict the flow of God's grace, the God-given desire and power to do His will. We restrict that flow of grace to us. This is by design to motivate us to cry out to God in desperation and to be humble and repent. Philippians 2:3 says, "Do nothing from selfishness or empty conceit, but with humility of mind regard one another as more important than yourselves." Humility is not a spiritual gift that only certain people receive. It is a choice that as followers of Christ we can and must make, to consider others' interests and not just our own. Proverbs 15:31 says, "One who listens to life-giving rebukes will be at home among the wise." Wise people listen to rebukes because the rebukes actually give life by warning us of approaching dangers or errors. Proverbs 9 through 10 says, "Instruct a wise man, and he will be wiser still. Teach a righteous man, and he will add to his learning." The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. Wise people listen to instruction and teaching. That is how they gain further wisdom. Proverbs 12:1, "Whoever loves discipline loves knowledge, but whoever hates correction is stupid." That's right, it says stupid. One of my sons pointed out this verse to me. He said, "Such a strongly worded sentence. He who hates correction is stupid." Wow, what a rebuke for those of us who do not listen to others well. Humility is an area where I am asking God to work in my life. When faced with instruction or criticism, I need to be quick to hear and slow to speak. James 1:19. Would you join me in praying the following prayer? "O Lord, when someone is instructing or criticizing me, help me to be a true representative of Christ and listen with humility and consider what they are saying, because they might be right." Today, I encourage you to reflect on this.